it's me, Power Coach Alishia, your source of fun, funny, exciting, entertaining, and educational life coaching, transformational speaking, and soul healing with a twist of tough mama bear, no fluff, no hand holding, no bullshit love. I specialize in helping you get out of your own way, put yourself first without feeling guilty, and finding yourself again. And it's extremely important that you are taking this action for yourself to shift to these next level versions of yourself so that you can also take these shifts and advance your career or build a business that actually pays you money and stop living paycheck to paycheck. I think a lot of times when you're looking at like life coaching and, showing up for these sessions where we're talking about this kind of stuff, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, that sounds great and whatever. But one of the things you've got to know, and that's today's topic, is what got you here will stop you from getting there. It's like, okay, I've figured out how to at least be able to pay my bills, right? Or to do the bare minimum in my business, but I'm not really advancing in my career. I feel like my life is stuck. My business isn't really going anywhere and I don't know why. And so what you usually do is go and search for trainings and programs that are going to help you get better in your business, or you go to school to advance your career for your job. But the challenge with that is you're working with an operating system that is really, really bogged down. So if you know anything about computers, right, you know that with a computer, if you have too many programs running or if you've downloaded too many items and you have too much stuff going on, then that computer is not going to run as well as if you clear all the things out and, you're keeping your desktop clear, you're deleting things that you're not using, you're offloading big files, right? It's not going to work as well when you do that, or if you don't do that. And so that's how I want you to think of life coaching, right? And spending that time with me is it's going to help you grow and it's going to help you flourish. And like I say, help you shift to the next level version of yourself so that you can go out for that promotion or have that confidence to quit that job and apply for another job that's even better and more powerful for you, or really build your business, like go all in and build your business. So with that being said, I wanted to come live today because I wanted to talk to you a little bit about where this all started for me, right? Like in my journey, there's been so much personal growth and shifting that has happened to get me to this point, right? And the point that I'm at now is like so amazing as far as looking at, I can look at what's going on, what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, and know exactly where I need to focus, what I need to do, why I'm feeling that way, how it's going to affect me in the future, and the actions that I need to take to shift out of it. But it wasn't always like that. I remember when the book The Secret by Rhonda Byrne came out in 2003, I think it was. And I loved the book from the gate. I thought it was such an amazing book. I loved the concept of, what you put out comes back to you, like attracts like. Like I loved all of those things. And so as I went on my journey, I didn't realize that The Secret was going to be like the beginning of my self-development and personal development journey and lead me through to finding amazing people like Gary Vaynerchuk and Anthony Robbins and Lisa Nichols, which she's one of the authors in the book. I mean, there's just been so many things that have happened in my journey, and it really started from the book, The Secret. So my journey is kind of interesting because most people I don't talk about it much anymore because I quit my job in 2007. And so for 14 and a half, almost 15 years, I haven't worked at a traditional like day job, And so, but I did start clear back there. And I remember I've always had like this baseline level of confidence. And it's just because my mom raised me that way as a strong woman. So I've always had this baseline level of confidence, leadership, take control. I've always had pretty good sales skills. So I've waited tables, and the job that I left was actually a sales job and I did very well in it. And it's an interesting journey because back in 2007, I was quitting my job And Daniel, well, let me rewind a little bit before that. If you saw my stories, you'll hear a little bit of this, but I want to go a little bit deeper. My freaking stories was 8 minutes long. Oh my God. I got to get better at short, like clips of Fab Saucery, but whatever. Let's rewind just a little bit. So in February of 2005, Daniel came home from war and he had been gone for 13 months. And at this point, I was pretty established. Like, I had my own apartment and I was living on my own and had a good job making about $50,000 a year. I had just, got out of a really like shitty relationship. We should have never got married, but that's a whole other story for another day. If you listen to the podcast, you'll get to hear a little bit of that journey. But anyways, by the way, if you're not listening to the podcast, you should. Soulfirepodcast.com. Soulfirepodcast.com. All right, back to your regularly scheduled program. So when he came home in 2005, we had been friends. Like, we met, let me rewind a little bit more. We met when we were 13 years old in junior high, 13 and 14. And when he came home on leave from war, we hung out the whole time he was home, like pretty much every day for the 14 days we hung out, and then he went back. But when he came home permanently, he was looking for a place to live, and I wanted things to be a little bit cheaper, and because I was going to go to school to be a paralegal. So we moved in together at that time. And then about a year later, no, not a year later. I would love if it was a year later, February, March, April, May, June. 4 months later, I was pregnant with Ronan, my now 15-year-old. And well, he's almost 16 now. And it was crazy because I didn't even know what the hell I was going to do. I had this great job. I wasn't expecting to be a mom. I had Daniel, but he was fresh home from war and he had a lot going on. It was the craziest experience of my lifetime, being with the soldier who'd come home from war with PTSD. And hopefully we'll talk more about that in the podcast and just communicate more on that. But it was just such a crazy journey. Fast forward to Ronan being born, and, they say that PTSD takes 1 to 2 years to kick in. And there were obviously signs of separation and different things that he was going through. But once Ronan was born, his PTSD was starting to kick up. It was the craziest thing. He had lost 7 jobs in 1 year. A lot of people think that I've always made Daniel be a stay-at-home dad. They're like, why won't you let him go get a job? Why won't you allow him to work outside the home? But what happened was he was losing so many jobs that I was like, why don't you just stay home and take care of the baby, and I'll work. I make good money. It'll be fine. I'll just build my clientele higher, because at my job it was either $10 an hour or commission, whichever was higher. And I was way better at selling. So like I said, I made really good money. And so he decided to stay home and take care of Ronan and my nephew. And it just kind of got to where that was where we stopped. It was that's how we built our life. Well, about 6 months after Ronan was born, I decided to join slumber parties. I don't know if you guys remember slumber parties, but I decided to join slumber parties. And that was the first real direct sales business that I did and I got serious about. And this is I don't know what month it is. I don't know. We're still in 2006. So it was probably, actually Ronan was 9 months old. It was February of 2007 that I decided to join slumber parties. And by May of 2007, I had given my 2 weeks and I was quitting my job and going full time in this business. So fast forward 2 years, we have our second child, who's now 12, almost 13, Stratton. And, this whole time I'm like a single mom. Daniel is an amazing father. He always has been, but I'm really doing everything around the house. I was cooking the dinner and doing the laundry. And when I'd get off work and taking care of the kids and crazy, or home from parties, it was crazy saucery. The amount of, expectation that I had on myself. And I'm sure you can relate to this, to do everything in my household. And there was a point there where I was working a full-time job and I was doing parties and doing everything at home. And then I quit my job and it was parties, taking care of Daniel, taking care of the kids. You fast forward to 2010, we moved to Florida. And then 6 months later, or we moved to Pensacola, Florida. And then 6 months later, we moved to St. Petersburg, Florida. It was about 7 hours away. So in the span of 6 months, we had 2 big moves. We're actually like 4 big moves, but that's another story for another day. And we kind of end up in this place, this house that we're going to be in for a couple years. And it's kind of around this point, maybe 2011-ish, that I decide that I want to move from slumber parties to peer romance. And that's how I became a peer romance consultant originally. And in the meantime, at parties, I'm meeting new people, I'm connecting with people. And I remember that one of the ladies that I had connected with, her job was to run networking events where business owners came together and they, asked each other, or like got to know each other and sent each other business. And so I'd remembered that from a party, and I'm still doing parties, but to and from parties, I'm listening to Anthony Robbins and I'm listening to CD after CD after CD. And it's just like bathing into my mind, and I'm getting all of this personal development, and I'm growing and changing just like in my mind and getting more positive. And I'm like, gosh, this is amazing, And I remember that I pull into my driveway and I'm listening to the last of this CD that Anthony Robbins says, like, what's one major action you can take right now towards your dreams and goals? Like, what is that one major action? And that action was reaching out to this lady I had met at a party and asking her about networking events, how they work, and when their next one was. And actually, I think he said 2 major actions. Like, what's the first one you're going to do? Your first major action. What's your second? And my second major action was to start writing my first speech, because I always have wanted to be a life coach and a speaker. Like, it's been everything for as far back as I could remember. So, keep moving forward. I'm writing this like awesome speech, and then I start going to networking events, and then I get a speaking gig at a school, and I'm speaking at networking events, and I'm like, I love this so much. Like, I remember practicing my speech on Daniel and my mom and the kids, and like, it was so amazing. And I knew that I was ready to let go of being a direct seller at this point. So now we're 2012. I'm ready to let go of being a direct seller. And I had met this coach at one of these networking events, and she was a business coach. And I thought, well, I don't know how the fuck to like become a paid speaker. I now get how easy it is to get free speaking events, but I want to be a paid speaker, and this is what I want to do to take care of my family, right? So I get on the phone with this coach, and it sounds good. And mind you, at this time, I am the breadwinner of my household, running kids to and from. I don't know how old my children are at this point. They are 3 and 6. And so I'm just like, it's a crazy lifestyle at this point. Like, when I'm thinking about it, it's a crazy lifestyle. I'm dealing with kids all day, taking care of kids all day, running to and from kindergarten and preschool, or I don't know. Do you have preschool at 3? I think he was doing preschool at 3. We're going to like mommy events, and it was nuts. And at this point, Daniel went to school, because I was like, you have to do fucking something with your life. Like, we have been together for 6 years. You got to do something with your life. So he was going to school at this time, but I was still really being everything for everyone in my house and doing everything for everyone. At this point, I was still doing like the laundry and cooking dinner every day, and just all the pure crazy freaking saucery was happening at this time. So I hired this coach, and I'm wanting to hire her to help me build my speaking business, right? And she asks me what I'm good at. And I say, oh, I'm good at direct sales. I sell about $10,000 a month, and that's what I, use to take care of my family. And she's like, that's what you need to do. You need to be a direct sales coach. They need you. And I'm like, I don't want to do that though. Like, I want to be a speaker. She tells me it's going to take 3 to 5 years to get there. And if you heard in my stories, when I said that, I look back, and at the moment I thought 3 to 5 years, it was so long, dude. Oh my God. Like, that's way too long. But now look at me. We're at almost 10 years later. Like, what would have happened if I would have just stuck with that and not allowed someone to lead me somewhere else? Now, I wouldn't change my journey for the world. I am grateful for the journey that I've had because I've had so many shifts along the way. But I went on to become an amazing direct sales coach. So just about a year later, maybe a year and a half later, I hired these badass marketing coaches, and they helped take my company to $570,000 a year. So my peak, I think, was I actually think it was 2015 at 570,000 and some change as my best year ever. And the thing about it is, and one of the reasons why, even though I've told this story plenty of times, one of the reasons why I'm going through this journey with you again, one, some of you haven't heard my story, and two, is because this is the part of it that I've never really talked about. And it's the shifts that had to happen along the way for each point of this journey to happen. So for me to go from slumber parties to pure romance, there was a shift that had to happen, a growth that had to happen for me, because I lost a lot of close friends and people that I loved so much. It was a crazy time. Everybody who left slumber parties and went to pure romance was getting sued. It was nuts. I had 2 little kids at home and I was the sole income, and my business could have been taken from me because I decided to move from one company to another. So the shift that had to happen at that time was that faith and that confidence that I was making the right move for my family and that the universe had my back, right? So that was like one of my first biggest like faith shifts. And then my next shift came in trusting my first coach that being a direct sales coach was the better path, following her lead, doing what she told me to do, and trusting that journey, right? Because it was taking me in one way away from what it was that I really wanted to do. And so my next shift was trusting the journey, right? In and of itself. Then my next shift came from realizing that where I wanted to go, what I was doing wasn't going to get me there. I needed to do something different. And so this next lesson was like, okay, where you want to go, you've got to find someone who can actually show you how the fuck to get there, right? So the next shift was literally jumping off the cliff, believing the parachute would open, because I had invested $900, my last $900 into, maybe it was $800. I don't remember. It was either $800 or $900 into signing up my badass marketing coaches. So here I go, jumping off the cliff. I took the last dollars in my business bank account to do this. I had no other money. I could have used it to pay my household because, again, still the breadwinner, still paying all the bills at this point, right? And that leap, though, jumping off the cliff, believing the parachute would open, was my like a big booster in confidence in myself. So that shift was trusting me that I would do whatever they said to do and we would fucking kill it. And we did, right? So 2015 companies at $570,000. At this point, I'm ready to transition into a speaker and life coach. This is what I want to do. And from this point, my shifts are now going to go over another 6-year time frame, which I don't know at this point, right? There were so many huge shifts that happened from 2015 to 2021 that has really brought everything to where it is right now. And for me to be able to be here with you at this version of myself. I will tell you, one of the biggest mistakes that I made, though, was not shifting my mindset for that kind of money, that kind of success, and that kind of world that I had built. So a lot of times people think, well, I don't need life coaching. I'm fine. Like, I've got this. I'm not sad. I'm not down. And I do talk a lot about getting out of your own way, putting yourself first without feeling guilty, and finding yourself again. And those are really like what I feel like are the soul transformations of working with me. But one thing that you have to understand is that promotion at your job, or getting that new job that you're going out for, or building a successful business starts with these major shifts. And this was the thing that fell short. It was the one thing that I wasn't getting. Like, hey, we're going to be doing some big things here. So you're going to have to do a lot of mindset work. You're going to need to work around money. You've got to do work around harmonizing and not grinding all the time and working all the time and pushing for that next goal. Like I literally obliterated my body sitting so much, typing so much. I would work 14, 16, 18-hour days sometimes, just sitting and typing and building and creating. And, it would have been so awesome to have that support and that help to help me shift my mindset and that care for myself, like putting myself first and not having that guilt that I have a family to take care of and I don't have time to put myself first. I've got to do this. I've got to get it done. I got to get it out there. I've got to sell. I was so completely in my own way that I was destroying my body and I didn't even know it, Oh, hi, Joanne. Yay. I'm so glad you caught me live today. Like destroying my body and I didn't even know it. Right. And along this way, I had already lost myself. Like that version of me, she's pretty badass and she did so many amazing fucking things and changed so many lives. I'm so proud of her. Right. I lost me in that journey. I lost what I loved and who I was. And, at some point I threw my hands up and said, Daniel, you got to take care of the kids. I don't want to fucking do all this anymore. Right. And I did start doing things. So before I hired these marketing coaches, I had created Harmony where I was putting myself first and journaling and doing all the things that I teach. My OI to the third power formula, I was doing those things. But then when I moved into this higher level of success, dude, I knew I needed to. I knew that it was important. I knew that taking care of myself was such an important part of the journey. However, I allowed the pressure of taking care of my family financially outweigh that. And that's been a huge shift for me over the last 6 years. So sometimes you're going to be shifting like boom, 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 boom. And then there's going to be shifts that take you a lot longer to learn that lesson. If I would have embraced the lesson in 2015, then it would have taken me 6 years to shift. But I kept fighting and kept caving into the pressure and fighting for, to keep working and keep doing and keep pushing and then caving into the pressure, right? So that's what caused it to take so long for me to get to the point of following my dreams and, to get to the point of where I am now. And I'm still shifting. You're always shifting. But here's the deal. There's a difference between like 180 shifts, changing your fucking life, cementing it, making a lasting change of the foundation of who you are and how you show up and how you connect with you. And then there is shifting to the next level version and the next level version and the next level version and the next level version. I've explained this a few times between my podcasts and different lives that I've done. That's how my programs are structured. So my Soul Shifts Mastermind is like the next level, the next level, the next level, the next level. But my Shift Happens program is your 180, foundational, and lasting change. It's like all of that in one as your next steps, right? And one thing that is always distorted is you just need somebody to teach you how to do these things in your business. I just need somebody to teach me how to sell. I need somebody to teach me how to get new clients. I need somebody to teach me how to get that promotion. I need somebody to teach me how to get the job when I go for this interview for this 6-figure a year job. Like I don't need help getting out of my own way. Yes, you do, because you're in your way. That's why you haven't gone out for that job. That's why you don't have the promotion. That's why your business isn't where you want it to be. Well, I definitely don't need to learn how to put myself first without feeling guilty. Yes, you do, because a business is extremely demanding. If you're working a 6-figure a year job, you've got to know when to say no and when to create that harmony in your life, right? So what happens is, and I was guilty of this too, and that's why I can teach you this and talk to you about this, is you just focus on what's right in front of your face. I need to make more money. I need to get the promotion. I'm sick of living paycheck to paycheck. This is ridiculous. We have no extra money to do the things we need to do. Like that's where your focus is, right? Well, you're never going to get the more money. You're never going to get the promotion. Your business is never going to get to where you want it to be, because you have to shift. And there is a 99% chance that those of you that are listening to this, whether it's replay or live, that your shift has to be the 180. You're in a like huge shift. There is a 99% chance you're not at next level part. Why? Because most, like every single woman I work with is at the 180 shift. They need the 180 shift. And yes, things look a little bit different between each person, right? Some people a little bit more or a little bit less depressed and actively living their life and taking action and doing things that they need to do for themselves while still feeling dead inside, like they're going nowhere, like it sucks, like they're stuck, like they don't know what to do, but they know what they want. Then there's the person who's stuck in bed and can't even get out of bed, is struggling to take care of themselves, have no fucking clue what they want in life. They can barely even think about what they're going to eat next or whether or not they're even going to eat, right? Both of these types of women need a 180. It's the same 180. You end up in the exact same spot before you start going to soul shifts of next level, next level, next level, next level. So I will live in next level shifting for the rest of my life because that's the point that I'm at. But it took me 6 years to get through that foundation, that lasting change, and to not retreat under pressure and know that like, okay, my hands get a maximum of 5 hours a day. If I'm journaling for an hour, because I type to journal because writing is excruciating for me, then I only get to type for 4 hours. You know, that's it. I know that I have these thresholds. Are some days I'm going to be past that threshold? Of course. Sometimes there's things that need to get done and deadlines that need to be made, or I'm behind or whatever, that require me to go past those thresholds that I set. But that isn't the regular, right? So I've done the 180. I'm able to know when to say yes, when to say no, when to take the action, when to not. When I have a breakdown, like true story. Last night I had this like huge breakdown and like this was bothering me and that's bothering me and I'm crying over this and I'm crying over that, because when I feel out of control or I'm really angry, I cry. And in this instance, I was feeling like I was out of control of everything. There's no plan here. There's no plan there. There's nothing going on here. There's nothing going on there. What are we doing with this? What are we doing with that? I don't know. You know, all of these things. While in the first time in my entire marriage, this year is the first year that I have not been responsible for our finances. I am not contributing to our finances. I am focusing on me and building my dream business, my dream life coaching and speaking business. And Daniel's taking care of all of that. But with that comes relinquishing control, which when I feel out of control, I'm like freaking out, you know? And so I have this big breakdown and all of this stuff, and it's getting to me, and oh my God, I don't know if this is going to work, and that doesn't seem like it's working, and I don't know if I'm on the right track. I should just retreat under the pressure and go back and do what I know. And I'm like, you know, so this is what's going on, right? And so I make no decisions in this state, and I go to bed, I wake up, and then what do? I take action to help me shift. So in this story, I'm not doing next level shifting today, right? I'm going basic. What is the small thing that I need right now to get back to that 180 point? Once we get back to that 180 point, then I can shift next level. And so I got in the shower and I listened to personal development. That's the first step. Good in, good out, right? And as I'm pouring the good in, I get what I need to connect the dots in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and the path that I'm going on in a way that I know is exactly my message and what I'm best at and what's going to convey the right message to you, right? So it's always good if you have a breakdown that leads to a breakthrough, right? It only led to a breakthrough though, because I knew what I needed. I knew what action to take to get back to the 180 foundation. And I took that action immediately. The next time I had a chance, because I went to sleep, right? That's what I want to give you inside of the Get Your Shift Together workshop. It's 100% free. I want to show you how to, like, I guess it's your 180 set point. The 180 degrees from where you are right now Even if your life is great, I want it to be unbelievable. I want it to be amazing. I want it to be peak personal power. I want you to know exactly what to do to keep that, like to maintain that, and then grow that up, right? Most people don't know how to do that. They don't have any clue. And one of the reasons that makes me such an amazing coach is the fact, hi, Mary, is that I'm journeying this always with you. I have never arrived and like, hey, you need to catch the fuck up, or you need to rise up to me all the way up here. I'm all the way up here and you're just clear the fuck down there. I'm journeying this with you the whole time. That's why my podcast introduction says, as we journey our way through this thing called life, because every single thing that we do together, we're on this journey together. We're at different points of the journey for sure. However, I'm never at the end. I've never arrived. I've never finished. So I just would love to see you inside of the Get Your Shift Together workshop. Even if you've taken it before, I have added some things to it. I've taken out the things that I feel like are not as powerful, not as strong, not as much of a transformation for you. I'm so excited for it. It kicks off on Monday, October 11th. So if you're not signed up, go to getyourshifttogether.life. Getyourshifttogether.life. It is in the description of this video, and I'm going to put it in the comments right now as well. Of whatever, I think it's the video on my page is where the comments are. But I just kind of wanted to come on here because my stories was really awesome. So I did a Facebook story, and that was kind of clunky for me to put all together. So I hope all the videos came together in order. I did a 9-minute video. Yeah, probably not a good idea for stories, but the ones that need it will get the message, right? I just wanted to dive deeper into what I talked about on the stories, because no matter what, I'm always going to look like I'm way far ahead of you. And if you're comparing it in the linear, then maybe I am. But in the same breath, I'm still journeying through life. Shit is still happening. Things still incapacitate me. I still have breakdowns. Shit becomes hard. I still feel like I want to give up. The difference is that 180. What that 180 set point is the difference, first and foremost. And once you learn that, and once you live that, and once you relive that, like get back to that point, then you shift into those next levels and your life becomes so unbelievable. And you wonder how you ever lived the way before. You wonder how that was your life before. I don't even tell my life story the way that I used to, because it's been so long since I lived that version of my life. I don't live that version of my life now. I have different versions and different challenges and different things that I'm shifting through. However, the tools that I have developed over the last 9 years are part of what you learn inside the Get Your Shift Together workshop. So again, go to getyourshifttogether.life. This is my free workshop. I've pulled it back to 5 powerful days. So it's 5 amazing days of just pure badassery. I show up for you every single day. It's a live workshop, and I am taking you through going from shit shows to full soul connection. And this workshop is in celebration of the doors opening to my Shift Happens program. So Get Your Shift Together is just the tip, right, of the iceberg, but you still feel a huge shift inside of you. Moving into Shift Happens, that's your 180 set point. That's what happens inside of the Shift Happens program, is getting everything you need for the 180 set point. It's 8 weeks long. It's unbelievable. That kicks off towards the end of October. Our first session is at the end of October, and that's ran completely live. So I would love to see you go to shifthappens.life, sign up for this free workshop, join us for it. Again, like I said, even if you've been through it, you've never been through this this Get Your Shift Together. Okay. It's different and the same, but more powerful. I don't know. You'll see when you get in there. Thanks, Mary. You're so awesome. All right, you guys, I'm going to jump off here and let you go. Get your shift together.life. I hope you gained some value from this, right? And that something I said really connected with you. If it did, I'd love for you to shout out in the comments what's something that I said during this like impromptu chat where we're just hanging out of something that connected to you. So if you'll shout that out in the comments, that would be awesome. All right, we will talk to you guys later. Bye.